If you are getting ready for AP statistics or you are just studying statistics at school, I will show you how to use the binomial formula, and I'm going to show you also how to check your work using Desmos. As you know, the new app, Bluebook, that is going to be available for all AP test takers, just generally College Board test takers. You are now allowed to use Desmos graphing calculator, or whichever calculator is appropriate for the subject. For statistics, that would be a graphing calculator. And that gives you a huge advantage if you actually know what to do. So I will show you how to use the calculator to check and see if your answer is correct. Now, I'm looking at the following example. Suppose that from the past experience, 15% of students are late to class. Suppose that you randomly select 20 students. And then you want to know what's the chance, for example, that 2 people are late to class. Now, what will happen on AP Stats or some sort of multiple choice answer? They will give you various setups, and then you're going to have to choose which one is correct. Let me show you, and by the way, the binomial formula is available from inside the test in the formula sheet. Okay, so we're going to start setting it up. So first, we're going to go ahead and start with n. N is your total number of trials, meaning the total number of students you have. So that was going to be 20. Then X is how many students you want to be successes. So in this case, success, quote unquote, means the student is late to class. So that's going to be 2, right? Because we want 2 students. Then it's going to be P. Now, P is the chance of success. Usually, it is given as a percentage, and you're going to need to convert it to a decimal by dividing it by 100. So just take 15, divide by 100. That's going to give you 0.15. Now you are going to raise it to the power the same as this number right here. So that should match over here. So that will go 2. And then it's going to be 1 minus p. So if p is 0.15, which is the chance of success, 1 minus that is going to be the chance of failure. So that's 0.85. So I'm going to put 0.85 right here. And I'm going to raise it to the power n minus x. All you have to do is subtract 20 minus 2. That would be how many quote unquote failures you'll get. And that would be 18 in this case. So by failure, we mean actually arriving on time, which again, it's not literal failure or success, okay? Now let's look at how to compute something like this and then how to check your work. First, this is the number of combinations of 2 items taken out of 20. To get that from Desmos, you're going to go to the keypad, you're going to go to functions, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to the number of combinations. Okay, so this is going to be 20, 2. Then you're going to take 0.15 squared and then multiply that by 0.85 to the power 18. So that's the answer. But let's just say you are having a hard time and you don't know, they give you these multiple different answers and you don't know which one's right. Let me show you how to check this answer in Desmos, whether I got this or not. Okay, so the first step, I'm going to go into the plus sign. Then I'm going to find inference, okay? And that's available from inside your AP exam. So you're going to click on inference. Then in the probability distributions, you're going to select under the drop down, you're going to select binomial, okay? Now here it's going to say, what's the number of trials? And you're going to say 20. And then what's the number of successes? So the probability of success. And that's 0.15. So you put 0.15 and then you click create distribution. Okay. Now this is going to create it. And then depending on how many successes you want, you can actually click on the graph and it'll tell you the answer. Okay. Now, because this is kind of scarce, it's kind of hard to see, but if you click over here, this would be probability of 0 successes. This is probability of 1 success. This is probability of 2 successes. Do you see how this answer right here matches what we got using the formula? So you don't even need to know how to use the formula. You can just type this answer from the multiple choice and then see if that matches the answer on the graph, okay? So let's look at one more example. This one says no students are late to class. So you should know that no students means 0. If you need to set this up, this is going to be 20, choose 0, because now you have no students. Then it's going to be 0.15 to the power 0. And then it's going to be 0.85 to the power whatever is 20 minus 0, which will be 20. So if you were to type this, all you have to do is change this to 0, change this to 0, change this to 20. And that's my answer. However, imagine that I'm just given like 4 different choices. So type them all. And the one that is going to match what Desmos gives you, if you look at this one right here, it tells you that that's supposed to be 0.03876. That's the one that's going to be correct. Okay. And that removes the guessing and being anxious on the test because you can just look it up right there on the graph. Now, all students are late to class. What that means is that every single student out of 20 is late. So this is going to be 20 choose 20. And then it'll be 0.15 to the power 20, and then 0.85 to the power difference between 20 and 20, which is 0. Okay? So if you were to compute something like this, that should actually be 0. Oops. By the way, if you ever messed up like I just did by accident, you can always undo. So you got the undo button, which remembers all your steps, and you can just click undo. All right, so what the heck is that? When you look at an answer like this, some students think that the answer is 3.3. Well, you should know that probability is a number between 0 and 1, and it can never be 3.3. So this is actually scientific notation, and this means that 10 to the negative 6/17th, that means that your decimal point will be moved to the left 17 times, and which means that you're going to get a tiniest of the tiny numbers. So for all intents and purposes, this is just going to be 0. And you can see that if you click over here on that dot, on the bottom at 20, you get 0 for the probability. And that's it. That's all there